Hey guys, this is Derrick from the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast. Just want to let you know about this great partnership that we have with Collar and Elbow now. You can check out all of their great merchandise at collarandelbowbrand.com. Make sure you use the code WIQ101 to get some great savings. Everybody likes saving money. I like saving money, so you should too. Collarandelbowbrand.com, WIQ101. It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Look, Wrestling 101, classes in session. Pay attention to the teachings, that's from Andrew and Derrick. I mean, these guys making a killing with no competition. Dynamic duo better than the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Everybody make some noise, mess with them, you get destroyed. They cannot be beat, take a seat. Watch them do they thing on the MIC. Face defeat, they cannot be seen like JC. Oh my goodness, it's a killing spree.
This is Tyra Rusumi, the Exotic Panther, and you're listening to Wrestling IQ 101.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. I'm your host, Derrick. Today is a nice day. I have a very, very special guest with me. One of my closest boys. I've seen his journey. I've seen him come from the bottom to where he's at right now. I hope I'm building you up real good.
I'll take it.
You take it. Hot 97's own
Ooh.
King Louie
Ooh.
in the building, aka Breaking Lou.
Sounds good.
Any news you want to hear, this is the man to get it from.
It's true.
That's how I validate my facts right there. But what's good, bro? How you doing, man?
What up, man? Does this mean I have to call you Derrick?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a little weird to me, but
it's kind of weird.
Okay.
You know, Derrick, Zeke, that's what it says on the IG.
Okay.
It's for everybody.
All right.
A lot of people don't know why they call me Zeke, so, you know, gotta give them the government. But yeah, man, how's everything been with you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. Just just working. It's a snowstorm as we record this.
It's
so
always a snowstorm.
You know.
This is Jersey. I feel like every other couple of days we got a snowstorm going.
Well, sometimes.
It's
been good this year.
It's been good, yeah. Just because we're gonna get hit with the snow in the springtime.
Oh yeah, don't do that to me, please.
That's why it's coming, man. It's coming.
I don't wanna.
So for our fans that are listening,
Yep.
we want to know. Let's take them back on your journey. I know your journey. This is good for me because there's a lot of things that I feel like I'm going to learn today about you that I probably didn't know.
Possibly.
Things that you've been through.
All right.
So first, I want to know, I know you love music.
Right.
How did your love for music? How did that all come about?
Wow, that's damn. That's a hell of a freaking question.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, I mean, I've always had it since I was young. It's not like it's not something that was just like one day. It's just like, oh, music. I didn't grow up in a house full of musicians or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just I remember back in the day, watching like Michael Jackson for the first time and watching Thriller for the first time and always wanting to see it. And my mom would always play music on the boombox. Wow, I'm dating myself. Always play music on the boombox and stuff. And I would always find myself just with music. Like I would always want a Walkman on, playing a certain cassette, playing in my ears, just walking around, listening to the music. I would just sit in the room, just music all day, like no matter what it is. I would go to the radio and for hours and hours on the day and just take the blank cassette tape, wait for the song that I want to hear, record it, make sure it's recorded on the right way.
That was a struggle back then.
Yeah, and all of that. I mean, look, I used to love music classes. I remember I would get the line, instead of, how mad people had gotten the Lion King movie, and I had the Lion King movie and I watched it a million times.
Yeah.
But not only did I have that, I had this it was just the videos of all the music with the lyric book.
Oh, man.
And I would watch that all the time. I used to I had a cassette, I might still have it somewhere, Michael Jackson History with all the music videos from all that when that came out. I just always loved music. I don't know if I was a musician in my past life. I don't know. It was just built in me. It was just music, everything. Music just moved me at all times.
Nice. So, growing up, and I feel like all this time I know you, I've never asked you this question. All time,
right.
who's your favorite musician all time?
my favorite musician is Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson?
Yeah,
Oh, man,
Michael
yeah.
Jackson all the time. Hopefully things don't change within the next day or two.
No, man,
but,
he's good. He's good, man.
It was always Michael Jackson. If you ask anybody, I used to, try to moonwalk a million times and try to mimic the dance moves. And, I would just know all of his music. I remember one time my uncle had given me his tape, and I still have it somewhere in the boxes, but of the Motown 25 special that was recorded on a VHS tape.
Oh, man.
And I would watch that all the time. That was the year Michael Jackson first did the moonwalk.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson, man. I always loved Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So when you decided, like, what was that moment when you decided, like, you know what, like, I love music so much, like, I want to be in the business? Like, and like, when was that moment for you, and you decided, like, yeah, I'm going to take this serious, that I want to make, being in the music business, like, my career?
Probably college.
College?
Honestly, probably college, because, like, I always loved music, but I never knew what I really wanted to do with it. I mean, it was just a lot. It's like, am I going to be a DJ, or do I want to talk on the radio, or do I want to write for a magazine? Do I want to do that? And so not until college, I mean, that I really, like, not even early in college. It took me until like sophomore, junior year to be like, you know what? This is just what I want to do. This is just, it's my love. So I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's probably wondering. They're like, when are we going to get to the wrestling stuff? What does it have to do with wrestling? We're on our way there. Trust me. Wrestling ties into this for sure. Don't worry. So you were in college. You went to Rutgers.
Yes.
What was your official title? Program director?
So I did a couple things. So I went to Rutgers, Newark. So at that point, I was technically program director, but I DJ'd. I ran the station. I pretty much did all the day-to-day for the radio station.
Nice.
While I was doing that, I was also helping. Shout out to Aisha, helping out with WRSU.
Yeah.
With the Monday Mixture.
Monday Night Mixture.
Monday Night Mixture, man.
I remember that.
Yeah. Sammy Figs, Erod.
Uh-huh.
Just helping out with that show.
Yeah.
Picking up phones, helping out with like some content, doing the social media. Little did I know, it was like years later, that experience right there would help me with what I'm doing now. It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So when you were there, when you were at Rutgers, that's when you met Ebro, right? Correct. Ebro, everybody's from Hot 97.
Absolutely.
As well.
One of my deans, and whoever also overlooked, what we were doing with the radio station and all of student life at the time.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dean Walton. So we brought in Ebro for to kind of just talk to the kids, talk to anybody that would be interested in all that. Just talk about the business overall.
Yeah.
Kind of just one of those things. Just speaking all that. But he knew what I was doing. Those two guys were friends, are still friends, and introduced me to him, and eventually throughout time he got me in. Got me an internship out of 97.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool that he saw the talent in you, and he decided he saw the work, and like all of us did. All of us who were close to you, especially, right. We all saw the hard work you were putting in, and where you wanted to go with this, and all that time interning at Hot 97 and all that, and
bro, it's been a journey
to be now where you're at right now. It's been a serious journey, man.
Facts.
You definitely earned it for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's a story.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, working, at Hot 97.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun.
Of course.
You get to work with a cluster of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Whenever I tell them I have a friend at Hot 97. I mean, that are wrestling fans. Who do you think the first person that they're thinking of?
Rosenberg.
Yeah, they're thinking about Rosenberg all the time, man. So, just so our fans could get that fix for themselves.
Absolutely.
Tell us about, your relationship with Rosenberg and, how it is, to work with him on a daily basis.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool in the morning where we get to talk, because Rosenberg, not only hip hop, but we can talk sports and we
Yeah.
talk wrestling, you
Yeah.
know, and sometimes like let's say Fastlane next week, I'll hit him up, like, or even if he's doing like the pre-show or something like that, you know, I'll just hit him up and be like, yo, did you just see that? Yo, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was during the Royal Rumble, when Shane McMahon did the shooting star press, I hit him up, like, yo, that was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. But you know, it's cool to have him around because you know you can have different discussions. You know, sometimes he'll just be like, hey, did you watch Raw? Or you know, you can talk about wrestling, kind of compare, or you know, you can talk about sports, talk about hip hop, you can talk about different things with Rosenberg. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So when it came to wrestling itself, I feel like everybody has a moment. I don't know if you have a moment. You know, what is that moment that you know when you're a kid and you're just watching wrestling, you're just like, yeah, I like this, man. I like this a lot.
Well, it's crazy because I feel like I have like two different like lives watching wrestling.
Yeah.
So I have like when I was a little kid, I remember when I was a little kid and seeing the Hulk Hogan, of course, and Macho Man and all of them. And that would be early, you know, I remember watching like WWF Superstars, you know, back then. It was like Saturday mornings or something. I would watch something like that. And you know, I would remember watching that, but you know, I stopped watching for a while, and then I remember the second life. It might have been late '97, early '98, when you know, I remember it was on PlayStation when Warzone, I think, came out. That was the PlayStation game, right? Warzone.
I think played the first PlayStation, I believe.
Yeah, that came out, and then we would go to my boy's house and we were just playing. It's like, who's this? Who's this? Is Hulk Hogan still there? Yeah, but he's on WCW. Wait, so who's this? And then learning that we'd be wrestling, then I would start watching. Then that was the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and just getting back into wrestling right then and there. That's the perfect time to get back into wrestling.
Yeah,
because that's just when things just starting. The NWO just came, and I was normally watching more WWF, but it's just like, you know, the rise of Austin and Mankind, Cactus Jack, wherever he wanted to be at a certain time, and the rise of The Rock, you know, all of that just all at the same time. It's cool to watch.
Yeah, I remember that time too. It was like, you know, Monday Night Wars, and I know for me, myself and a lot of my friends when I was like in, you know, middle school or whatever, everybody, like, I feel like all of us watch like WWF more than we watch WCW.
Yeah, I felt like that too.
I feel like WCW was cool, like, for the NWO,
right?
But I felt like everything else, I don't know, maybe I didn't appreciate it because now I appreciate wrestling skill a lot more. So I love like the luchadors now when I watch the old WCW stuff.
Absolutely.
But like at the time, it was just like, I don't know, I felt like I just had to be with WWF at that time.
It was just because you know what it is. I think at that time we kind of missed the boat with the NWO, and I was just a little more adult and stuff like that. And you had to really, you know, you had to be a little more mature to really understand how important it was for Hulk Hogan to turn heel and go into the NWO. Yeah. You almost kind of appreciate it more now than you do then.
Yeah, definitely.
But when we were growing up, you know, and if you just started getting into wrestling or just watching at that time, it's the rise of Austin. He was doing so many things that you never saw before, or things that as kids you were just like, fuck yeah, you know, it's just
He's just like he was that he was like against authority.
Against authority.
That's what everybody liked. It was just like, because everybody, you know, you always have your problems, whether, you know, your parents, your principal, your boss, whoever. Exactly. How many times did you want to stun like one of your teachers?
All the time.
You just wish that you could have did that. But you know, and I feel like we're kind of blessed because we got to be in that time era,
right?
And watch. We got to actually before that, because even when I was younger, I remember, you know, my first wrestling started off Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, just like you said, Andre the Giant, you know, Roddy Piper, those guys.
Absolutely.
So to be able to watch those guys wrestle, and then go into the Monday Night War, and then to go into the Attitude Era. Well, that was the Attitude Era, but then, you know, the what was it? Ruthless Aggression era. Like, then, you know, and then now we're at the point where the PG era. Like we got to see everything. The PG, I don't know, but you know, I got kids, so I could kind of appreciate it. Yeah, but you know, and then now to where we're at with like the woman's evolution period,
right
now, which is amazing as well. I think we've just been blessed to like be able to go through all those generations. And when we get older, we'll talk kids about it, and they'll be like,
Oh, of course.
What are you talking about?
Well, we'll just go on the WWE Network and just say,
Oh,
this is what we
yeah.
watch. Because remember, back then, I used to record the pay-per-views and the Monday Night Raws and,
Yeah.
the SmackDowns and all that on the VHSs. And now it's all on the WWE Network. You can just watch all of that.
See, look, I think you've been working with Rosenberg too much.
Oh, yeah.
He's got you doing WWE Network promo.
Great plug, right?
Yeah. Hey, give us a sponsorship. We'll gladly take it.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, man. So, I already know the answer to this, but favorite wrestler of all time?
The bad guy. Razor Ramon.
The bad guy, Razor Ramon. What was it about Razor Ramon that made you
He's
just
the
like
coolest
him so much?
wrestler of all time. And the Razor's Edge is just a great move.
It was, man.
The toothpick and everything. Come on.
He's the bad guy,
ladder
man.
match with Shawn Michaels. Both of them. Come on. It's just great.
The thing with him, though, he was like so cool, and he was just like, it's like a combination of both worlds.
But you know what really got me into it? I remember playing, I think it was the WrestleMania, the arcade game, a Super Nintendo, I believe. And Jesus. And his music. So it would be two of my favorite. It was Shawn Michaels. I remember because you scroll on every player and it plays like a little bit of the
Play a little bit of the song when you do it.
So
which WWE should do again, because that's kind of dope.
Yeah. So I did Shawn. I love Shawn Michaels song, but I loved Razor Ramon's song, and then and then the entrance, and then just the toothpick and the attitude and the Razor's Edge. I just always loved Razor Ramon.
So the thing with him, well, one thing I never really known about Razor Ramon is like, I never know if he's really Spanish or not.
The funny thing is I thought he was Spanish until like I grew up, and I'm like, wait, he's not Spanish at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he is. I still don't know to this day. I never
No, I think he's just white.
He's just white.
Yeah, I don't think he's Spanish
Scott
at all.
Hall is kind of a white
Yeah,
man.
I think he's just white.
But yeah, I feel like was that like a thing too that kind of made you connect more to him, because
Sure,
you was like,
of course.
it's a Spanish guy. He's repping for us.
Exactly.
And he's cool, man. Yeah. Oh man. So if you had to do let's say King Louie's top 5 all time in wrestling.
My top 5 or the top 5? That's the thing.
No, I mean you could be your top 5.
All right,
Your top 5 can be the top 5.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be.
Unless what you play, like Doink in there? What was going on?
Dink, man. Not Doink, Dink.
My bad. Of course. I'm going to go Dink. Definitely. King Louie's top 5.
I'll put my favorites. So of course, Razor, Shawn Michaels.
All right, that's good so far.
Stone Cold.
All right, that's good.
The Rock.
Okay, I like that.
And the greatest European champion of all time, D'Lo Brown. I'll do that.
All right, cool. I think you could have got away with that being the top 5 until you put D'Lo in there.
Oh man,
But D'Lo, I could take that. D'Lo at the time, I did like him, man. He was an important part of the Attitude Era, man.
D'Lo was the man.
D'Lo's
still the man.
He definitely was. So we kind of talked about a little bit, how we going through the generations, and we're at the point where we're at now.
Right.
I'll ask you 2 questions. I'll ask you the first one first.
Yeah.
About like wrestling in general today.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is just so stereotypical to act just for WWE,
Sure.
because wrestling has evolved so crazy that independent companies are just making such a scene.
This is going to be a great era.
It is going to be a great era for sure.
It's time for WWE to have like real competition, not Impact, which just didn't work out, or TNA, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a great era, and I think it's great for the business with the rise of independent markets.
See, there you go. I was going to say, what do you think about, the state of wrestling right now?
I think that happening, you give wrestlers more options, and you start, you need competition to push your buttons. I think at sometimes WWE just got too comfortable.
That's true.
They don't have to do anything too crazy, because you have to, if you want to watch wrestling, you're gonna watch their product anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
But the rise of streaming and the internet is really changing the game, where people can watch New Japan anytime they want now. People can watch all the other independents now. Yeah. And I think what's the new one that just opened up with Chris Jericho? AEW. That's going to be a huge competition.
Yeah, I hope it is,
to WWE, man. And I hope it is, because you need it to be.
Yeah.
You want them to push the WWE to make a better product at all times.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And that's what you
I think WWE gets a lot of times where they I think they feel like they don't have to listen to the fans
because who you're gonna watch them anyway.
How many times have people said, "Yo, I'm not watching WWE no more"? It's like, bro, we're not gonna stop watching WWE. Like, come on, man, let's be serious.
Absolutely,
we're gonna complain all the time, but we're still gonna watch it at the end of the day. I'll never miss a WrestleMania. I'm not gonna lie about that. A Royal Rumble. No. Any of those, I'm not gonna stop watching WWE.
No, but think about it like this. Think about it back in the day. If you didn't have WCW pushing WWF at the time in like 96, 95, 96, look at how boring. Go back to like an episode of Raw in like 96 sometime. You're like late 96, like early 96, before Brian Pillman and Stone Cold Steve Austin, but when like Ultimate Warrior came back, and you just saw, and you go, these are some of the worst episodes ever. Like, this is just bad.
And you know the funny thing is too, I went back through, and I guess I wanted to get my appreciation. First of all, I'm a huge NWO fanatic.
Right.
So I wanted to watch over and starting from like when the NWO first formed.
Yes.
And I literally watched every WCW Nitro. It might as well have been called NWO Nitro. But WCW Nitro.
They were trying to do that. You know, they were actually trying to do that.
Yeah,
I think Bischoff was trying to say
they were trying to head to.
They wanted to do, I think, NWO Nitro and WCW Thunder.
Literally how SmackDown and Raw are. That's where we're at now. But I went through and I watched all the Nitros I could until I couldn't stand it no more. At a certain point, it was just like when they started regressing, and you're like, what the hell is this?
Oh, when the NWO was like, who's red and who's black?
Yeah. The A team, the B team.
Right. You just didn't know what's what.
And then that's when I actually, when I was done with that, I was like, you know what? Why don't I'm gonna start with Raw during this time. I'm gonna watch the Raws. And I was like, why the hell was I watching WWF over WCW?
Right.
I was like, I can't believe it, because WWF at that time was
early
so
96
bad.
Was so
it was so bad. I
really
was like,
bad.
Why was I watching this? I was like, I don't know why I was
really
watching
bad.
this.
I mean, so you legit had fake Razor and fake Diesel come out.
Yeah, that was horrible.
What were you like? I know what they were thinking. It was all about the lawsuit and all that, but it's just
and for them, they made a mistake of thinking that it was the characters and not the actual people that fans were liking. They were thinking, oh, we can make anybody Razor, we can make anybody Diesel.
Right. Well, I think it was more to mock the lawsuit. It just didn't come out well. It
was pretty bad. Well. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But at that time, it was pretty bad, man.
Yeah.
But like with now, it's just like I like what Cody's doing with the Young Bucks.
Oh yes, 100%.
AEW, and I like how they're pushing it, and I like that it gives people more options. Those people that WWE might not use well now, like Dolph Ziggler, who's been unhappy for quite some time. Like he has an option now. This is like not like it's not like, oh, let me go to Impact, where Impact is.
And there's so many wrestlers, and now especially with the WWE right now, they're in a really weird position because now you have the rise of the women's division, which is great. Mm-hmm. But I already think 3 hours of television every Monday is too much.
Yeah.
And it's still not enough to get all those wrestlers time.
That is true.
And that's part of the problem. Even if you have separate products with Raw and SmackDown, the roster's just too talented, too much. Everybody can't have a spot, so you just need that up. And sometimes you need a wrestler to go out of that, recreate. Like Cody Rhodes is cool as hell. Not that Stardust was a terrible character. Yeah. It was weird, but it wasn't terrible. But just look at how cool his character is now. After he left.
Yeah. And that happens a lot too. It happened with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre left. He came back. Now
rebranded and boom.
Changed it to himself. Sometimes those guys, they need that.
Yes.
They need to,
just get away for
get away, and they need to, be their, create themselves. And a lot of them, I think it's kind of like, a lot of guys, sometimes they get lucky in there. Like Stone Cold, he got lucky because he got to be himself. Oof. And that was his character at that time while he was there. Yeah. And, creative worked with it. Where, Cody, from what I heard, I don't work at WWE, so I don't know. But, so, rumors was he wasn't happy with the Stardust character.
Well, it makes sense.
So, then he left, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So now these guys see, and I feel like Cody, like, was the, he was the first guy who started this whole thing for everybody else. And
I think he was the biggest name.
he was probably
That's what I
the
did. I
biggest
don't think he
name.
was the first, but he was like the biggest name. It's like follow me.
And yeah,
I'll take the lead. You follow me.
and he made it into something.
Yeah,
because he wrestled everywhere. I felt like he showed his talent, and from WWE it was like, yeah, Cody's a good wrestler. And then when Cody left, it was like, yo, Cody's a great wrestler.
right.
It's like he's amazing. Like,
But he
he's
was
doing
never
all these
gonna.
things.
He had to do that because if he would have stayed in WWE, he just would never grown. He would have stayed mid card.
Yeah,
And
I think it's awesome now because it's like it shows all these guys like WWE isn't the end all be all of everything.
right.
And it's like you don't have to stay there if you're unhappy.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
leave. And I think for WWE, vice versa, it's like it's a good thing and a bad thing. I like that now these guys that they normally wouldn't sign, now they're signing.
Yeah.
So all these indie guys that I watch or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I love these guys, and then I'm like, dang, I wish WWE would sign them. Before I'd be like, WWE's not signing these people. And
Sure.
then now they're signing everybody.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing and a bad thing. Because like you said, it's not enough time for everybody.
But one of the best things that WWE has ever done is NXT. NXT is just great because it allows alternative programming to the regular WWE product.
To the E in WWE.
Yeah.
It gives you the W in WWE.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and it's just like one thing I think they should do with that though, NXT has to go to TV, man. I think they have to put it on, like it has to go to. I heard they were talking about putting it on. I don't know. I don't want to say it's USA
with these new teams. Well, they might do USA
but
because Fox is already taking SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
Or
so
SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown. Raw's not.
Yeah, Raw's not moving from USA. But they might move that to another network. But I think for them, I think their best bet is keeping NXT on the network because you still want people to go to the network.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But they have so much stuff there though that you want to watch. I feel like
it's on Hulu as well.
It is on Hulu. Yeah, that is true.
So that's the thing.
I feel like for WWE Network, I feel like I'm not going there for NXT.
Well, I think those who have the WWE Network go to the WWE Network to get all the older content, like to get all the legacy content. So I think you either go there for that or if they can be, to me, honest, Vince, if you hear me one day, I can help you. And I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, but I think they can do better with some of their content.
Yeah. To
be quite honest, on the WWE Network, where I think they kind of lose moments. Even with Something Else to Wrestle, with Bruce Pritchard, I think I would rather see, instead of, I like how they kept the podcast thing or something like that, but why not add it's like free advice and stuff, but why not add like alternate commentary to some of these matches? So you have the original, and it doesn't have to be necessarily Bruce Pritchard, but just like with anything, like why don't you have like the wrestlers? You know how some movies have all like the directors like giving their advice, talking about what scenes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't you have alternate commentary to some of these wrestling matches, especially even just the historic ones or something like that, to give people another reason to watch it again?
That'd be dope. Yeah.
There's stuff like that with their content that they could be doing a lot better.
3 weeks, WWE Network is gonna have they're gonna have like their classic matches, and then they're gonna put 2 guys in the room that were in that match, and they're going to be doing commentary for the match because they heard your idea.
Yo, just pay me.
You see that? Yeah. Oh, man, that's funny. So, with the women's evolution, that's another big part of what wrestling is now.
I love
Say indie wrestling and women's wrestling are like the 2 biggest things.
It's about
right
time.
Now. It is about time. But one thing I'll say. There were. I want to retract what I was going to say. There were great wrestlers women wrestlers at that time. They just weren't able to showcase those talents like the ladies are given the opportunity nowadays.
Right, and it's because of the times, of course, society allows that. But I think before, of course, there was always great wrestlers. They were just never enough.
Yeah.
And they would never allow them to be above the guys. Where now you have women who are possibly better than some of the main event attractions nowadays.
Yeah,
to be honest,
that's true.
Now, the fact that there's a debate on whether we want a women's championship match or a WWE championship match to headline a pay-per-view, that's a great place to be in.
Yeah.
Because there was times where it'd be like women's match, bathroom break.
Yeah. That was the thing.
Or every women's match was a bra and panties match.
Bra and panties, yeah, exactly.
Or a mudslinging match, or a thong and a tape. It's a stupid match like that. Yeah. But now it's like legit wrestling and legit storylines, and it's great. And all of it, look, all of them women, they have great athletic ability.
It's crazy, like the things they're doing.
But Bianca Belair is the EST.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
That's his WCW, if you don't know. Bianca Belair. That's funny.
Bianca Belair?
She's dope too, man, for sure. But yeah, the women, and like you said, it's not even, it's like at the point of main event in a pay-per-view, but they're talking about women main event in WrestleMania. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. Like that's crazy, and that match will be off the charts.
Becky Lynch is gonna be, which she already is great, but that Becky Lynch is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And I like the whole storyline with Stephanie McMahon and the Authority. We're just going back in that time, but it's great. And
they're doing the they're a lot with the wrestling too nowadays is everybody knows it's scripted, or at least, all of us. My son doesn't know it's scripted,
sure,
but we know it's scripted.
Sure.
So I think they play into that a lot more now. This is called I believe they call it the real era, the reality era. I don't know what they something like that.
I guess.
But now it's like a little bit more, that you see like real talking, like
right.
On Twitter, like Ronda's beefing with Becky.
Sure.
And, she's saying things like, I don't care what the script says. Next time I see you, I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Well, that's smart.
You know what I mean? So it's smart.
Because you have to do it. You have to do it with the internet, in a way, ruined wrestling a little bit. Where it's like everything, okay, what's scripted or quote unquote is supposed to happen based on the dirt
before it happens.
Before it happens.
Yeah.
But so... You can't be tricked.
Yeah.
So then everything is just like, well, the debate isn't like, oh, this is like, well, they should have done this with this, and Roman Reigns doesn't deserve the chance,
Yeah.
So it's not about the show itself; it's about what your real opinion about something that's scripted. Anyways, so it's smart that they're doing that because there's no kayfabe. It's just you're just.
And then
you're always on.
You're not sure if it's real or not, a real beef or not. You don't know. Somebody who does hate it though, Jim Cornette hates it. Jim Cornette is super traditional.
Jim Cornette hates everything that has everything to do with not traditional wrestling.
If he could stop guys from jumping off the top rope, he would.
Okay? My God.
That's so funny.
Cornette wants to put people in a box. That's funny. No, but yeah, he's just, there's a lot of traditionalists out there. Which makes me wonder, actually, the decision to bring Bruce Pritchard back as one of the head writers on WWE, how does that work with the new generation?
Well, yeah, I heard from what I hear that I hear like his role, from what they're saying, is like it's being overhyped for what it really is.
Right, it's not a day-to-day. It's more like an advisory
that
period.
Much input. Yeah, input as, we think that is going to happen. So it's not like, he's up there writing stories and stuff like that.
Well, he might be. But he might be overlooking the script and stuff like that and be like, hey, let's try to do this. Let's try to do this. And that's smart because he has great intellect and like how some of these stories need to move.
Yeah, for sure.
Because for a while, it's been flat for the last couple of years. It's just... It's been a little flat, but look, the story, Daniel Bryan and this whole new persona, I love it.
I love it too.
Because it's different.
Yeah.
And you need, if you're going to make him heel, you have to find a way to make people not like him because people just naturally don't like Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
With the Wood Championship, I haven't seen something that innovative in a little while. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect for him.
But stuff like that, and then what happened in the past Raw when Ric Flair just got dragged out of hell, by Batista, perfect.
Yeah,
that was perfect. Like, who expected that? Nobody. And it's been a long time.
I heard he was coming back, but I didn't know that's how they were bringing him back.
It's been a long time since you've been surprised like that on WWE television. So if he's helping make those kind of decisions, or whoever's making those decisions, keep doing it because that's just enhancing the television.
Yeah, and then also Dana Warrior, Ultimate Warrior's wife, they brought her on too as a creative writer.
Good.
So like, yeah, finally,
Did
kids
she have
continue evolving.
did she have involvement in the wrestling business before that?
I am not too sure to be
It's
honest,
interesting.
but yeah, but I know she's been playing a big part with the whole. I believe she's been helped with like Connor's Cure and
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
right.
So she's been since Ultimate Warrior passed away. She's been a big part of WWE
Yeah.
and helping them and being an ambassador
It's,
for WWE
it's
as
ironic,
well.
isn't it?
Yeah, very ironic.
Because
It's funny how things
Ultimate
change.
Warrior and WWE did not have
The best
greatest
relationship. But I'm glad that we got to see that turned around towards the end, and crazy how they mend up everything, and
Right.
then Ultimate Warrior passes away. It's like, wow. It's like, dude, he just came back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were just seeing him back on TV, and then and the thing too, I think at that time there was a lot of like bad things said about Ultimate Warrior. And about
Well, he pretty much tried to.
well, yeah, but there's a lot of bad things said about his work as a wrestler, his promos, how they weren't good, and a lot of other stuff. But a lot of times, from my childhood, Ultimate Warrior, that he's a big part of it.
Sure.
When it comes to Hulk Hogan, you thinking of those guys,
it's classic.
you're
Look,
always gonna think of
no
Ultimate
one knew
Warrior.
what the hell he was talking about. I don't even think he knew what the hell he was talking about half the time.
Yeah,
But it was surely entertaining. But it only works. His promos only work if you have somebody to work with him that knew how to work with him. Like, I heard Mean Gene didn't necessarily like working with him, but he knew how to work with him.
Yeah.
So that's why with Mean Gene and Ultimate Warrior, they had they had chemistry for that. But the problem is Warrior didn't know how to adapt. When he came back in 96, at that point, it was just the same crap. In 96, 97.
Then they even brought him back in WCW.
Then WCW, you get into the
NWO.
reality stuff, and then he couldn't wrestle either at that point.
Yeah.
It just, and he didn't want to forget him. He didn't want to sit down. He didn't want to lay for nobody.
Yeah, but hey, he was fighting Hulk Hogan, who didn't want to lay for anybody either.
There you go.
So somebody got to lay down.
Somebody got to take the L. But
yeah, it's funny. Speaking of Hulk Hogan, it's been a while. We've never really had a chance to even talk about this or bring it up.
Right.
The whole Hulk Hogan and the whole the racist statements he made.
Yeah.
And all that. For me personally, I know when I first heard it, it was like, damn, bro. It's like it just hurt me so much. I'm like, yo, you just messed up my whole childhood right here. I'm like, I love the NWO. Like, I'm an NWO fanatic, man.
Right.
So now I'm like, bro, you just like you messed me all up.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel about when the news first broke on that and you heard about it?
I wanted to say I was surprised, but I'm not surprised by any of that anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about it. Hulk Hogan's still a character, and while it sucks, and it sucked, absolutely, and I'm like, damn, that sucks. But think about it. I mean, it's still Terry Bollea, who lives in Venice Beach, Florida, or some whatever.
Yeah.
In Florida, I'm sure he grew up around racial friends or people who
probably
speak that language.
Probably.
And it's adapted in him. He's still, sure. And I always hate the excuse that, I always treated black, colleagues the same, and I have black friends.
Yeah.
Okay, that don't mean shit.
Yeah.
The one time your child is dating a black guy, you go off.
Yeah.
On a whole tangent, racist tangent.
Yeah.
But he knew what he did, and that's the thing. Also, it's like, look, I'm not saying forget what he did, but you hold him accountable. And hopefully he learns his lesson, becomes a better man out of that, and becomes more sensitive to issues of minority issues.
Yeah.
And helps build the conversation into it. Like, he has a great platform now to say, hey, I fucked up. Let me try to help and heal.
Yeah.
And I hope he does that.
Yeah, definitely. It's like one of those things too. I think you said it perfectly. Yeah, it's like you don't forget it, but at the same time, if we're talking about his contributions to wrestling, is there really a star that was ever bigger than Hulk Hogan when it comes to wrestling? You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
And everything he did for it.
Sure, I just think as a society we have to learn, not learn, but we just have to forgive a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to kill his whole career because he did that.
Yeah.
Now, I think he needs to be, of course, held, like I said, held accountable.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he need, if he hasn't done it already, like apologize and talk to those offended face to face.
Yeah.
And in public, do what he can to repair the relationships between himself and the black and brown communities.
Yeah. And I always hate when people give the excuse like, oh, it was a private conversation that was recorded.
Well, that's your true thoughts.
That's your true, exactly.
It was a private conversation.
It's like it shouldn't have even been put out there.
Your true thoughts.
It's like, oh, I was just mad and this and that, but it's like, I don't know. I was pretty devastated by it, but I mean,
Absolutely.
It is what it is. But I think when it comes to stuff like that, Hulk Hogan, even people like China and X-Pac, which thankfully they're putting into the Hall of Fame this year.
No, but here's my thing. Number one, I have two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just gonna do a whole D-Generation X Hall of Fame?
Is
anybody else gonna be in it?
Yeah, no. They're all going in together as
Sure.
one group.
What is this? Triple H's third?
People know this. Triple H hasn't been in yet.
Oh, well, that's
Triple H is technically not retired yet.
That's
but
true.
no, this is the Generation X is going in. They're all going to go in at the same time, together.
China needs to go in separately. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure eventually it will happen.
But that's I get it.
This is their first way of like testing.
Yeah, I know that, but no one. There's never has been, and I don't think we'll ever see another woman as wrestler.
Yeah.
Like China.
Yeah.
She was whooping dudes' asses. Like nothing.
Yeah.
And you believe...
She's an Intercontinental Champion.
Right. But you believed it.
Yeah, you definitely believe that she could beat him.
She made you believe it. And there's never been and never will be a wrestler quite like China.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. All the, other stuff aside. But I think, I think this is kind of like them just testing the waters on it. But...
Where's
whatever.
Macho Man getting in?
I think,
for God's sakes.
Yeah, no. I think she, like her, X-Pac, Hulk Hogan. Even though Hulk Hogan's already in there, they wanted to take it away. Now they put him back.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Eventually, it's like I think with these situations of things that are happening outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
We gotta if you're putting somebody into a wrestling Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Then we should be looking at what they did in wrestling.
Sure. And
not looking at what they did outside of the ring. I remember somebody, I believe they asked Triple H, about China going into all. I think it was Stone Cold podcast.
Yeah, I think
and China going in, and this was at the time, he's like, yeah, we're a family program. And, you got to think about, when we put her in, like my daughters or whoever, some daughters they'll see China and they'll Google China and then all this stuff about her will come up. But it's like that can happen with anybody.
It's just weird for him to say something like that because it's partially his fault.
I mean, yeah. but that was weird to me too because I'm like, but you could do that about anybody. There's stuff about Stone Cold Steve Austin, about domestic violence.
With Deborah, right?
Yeah, you got a whole bunch of stuff like all these guys and. I'm saying all of these things, like we said, like all these things, if you're a better person, you change, it's forgivable. There's stuff, There's stuff about Ric Flair, there's stuff about Kurt Angle, there's stuff about all these guys out there. So I think you shouldn't be just pinpoint
to a point. There's a threshold where you go, all right, nah, they don't deserve.
Because now we're heading to Chris Benoit. That was gonna be my next question. Somebody like him, what happened?
You can't.
Do you look at?
Yeah, you can't.
What he did in wrestling, or do you you look out on the outside?
You don't forget what he did in wrestling.
Yeah.
He
definitely was one of the best wrestlers of all time.
Absolutely, he's in the books. You recognize what he did in wrestling. That's fine. That's it. You don't celebrate it. You don't put him in a Hall of Fame. I don't agree with what they had done before, just erasing it, like having a black shadow.
Blurring him out.
Right.
I was like, wait, what's going on right now?
That was just weird to me. Like, it happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, just because you had him before, it doesn't mean you support it. It happened.
Yeah.
But, it's really sad what happened. And you just can't. You can't celebrate it. You can't say, "Oh, he's a Hall of Famer," but he killed his whole family. No.
Yeah.
But you recognize he had great ability in the ring and he did some great things in the ring. but God, what he did to himself and his family, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
it's
it's
very,
terrible.
very bad
Yeah.
situation. Hey man, I mean, what can you do? That's one of those tragedies of wrestling. And one person I'm hoping to see, Owen Hart. I'm hoping to see him get in.
Owen Hart should have been in.
This is one of those
But it's Bret
situations where
Hart.
it's not him. It's his wife. It's not
She's
that
done.
she's not allowing him, but eventually I know it's going to
Look,
happen. A rumor is too that supposedly that I don't know if they're going to do it this year with DX going now, but supposedly the Hart Foundation is supposed to get inducted into the Hall of Fame too.
Oh man, and it's sad because Anvil deserves to had seen it happen while he was still alive.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Owen was a great wrestler, and then even when Brett left, they wouldn't let Owen out of his contract, therefore he stayed there. But he was a trooper for staying professional throughout that time, and he was always in Brett's shadow, but he was always known as a great wrestler himself. In the tag team, I mean, the Hart Foundation had over years, and let's not forget, I mean, 97, that was one of the greatest rivalries and one of the greatest stables of all time at that moment when they had Pillman, Anvil, British Bulldog.
See,
that was great.
This is like one of those like Four Horsemen thing where it's like 20 different variations of the Four Horsemen.
Sure.
The ones they're thinking of
was Owen Anvil.
Not even Jim, Bret Hart, and Jimmy Hart when they were the Hart Foundation, the originals, the tag team.
Right.
So that's what they're thinking about. That would be awesome.
But you also had Owen. Yeah, sure.
That's our Hart Foundation,
Yeah. But then you also had the tag team with Owen and Anvil. When they had the checkered pants and which is terrible.
Yeah.
British Bulldog. Are the British Bulldogs in?
No, but
They should be in too.
They're not, but I don't know why I'm going blank right now. Not the British Bulldog, but his partner's in there. His partner got in there. And I'm like embarrassed that
I'm talking about the tag team. And the dog. Yeah. The dog should be, I forgot the
dog as well. They don't put him in the celebrity wing. Who you want to see go in the celebrity wing this year? Let's talk about that.
Wow.
Think about the celebrities. Who's
is Mike Tyson in?
Mike Tyson is in, yes. I'm thinking Shaq. That's my pick. I would go with Shaq.
Why not? I know this was a WCW thing, but why not Karl Malone?
Karl Malone? That'd be nice.
I mean, Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman.
That'd be nice. That'd be really nice if they did both of them. I don't know if
they won't do it because it's WCW.
You gotta be a WWF.
I know. It's a WCW thing.
WWE, they gotta be WCW all the way.
But, I don't know. It's just, who have it? If they bring Shaq in to do this for the celebrity wing, then he needs to do that match with Big Show.
Yeah, I think that's done.
I know that was a dub last year.
I don't think that's happening.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like, all right, then what the hell? For what?
Yeah.
That
would have been.
I don't know. I really don't know.
They would have put Shaq over and let him win, right? Big Show is the biggest. Big Show
looks good right now.
Literally the biggest person that puts people over all the time.
Well, yeah.
I think his WrestleMania record is like horrible. It's
but that's his
like 30% winning percentage.
But that's his role now is great, and he's in the best shape of his life. I mean, shit, he looks great.
He looks amazing. Yeah, people keep talking about him retiring. Come on, Big Show could go for like 10 more years, man.
Nah, he's a big guy.
He go for 10 more years, man. Keep breaking rings, man. How many rings he's broken, man?
He's a big guy.
Oh man. So talking about you, what do you have any other ventures or anything else that you're looking at that you want to get started or that people should look forward to?
Well, right now, definitely follow the podcast, Ball Busters Sports.
Yeah.
So basically, think about it as barbershop talk, but with sports. So we just tackle the sports, but it's me and the Duke of New York, Patty Duke, and it's basically we just talk crap about sports, but talk about it like as we do at the water cooler, as we do, we're just chilling in the barbershop, just debate and talk about it freely as two fans of sports.
Nice.
And not to say that we have the stats in front of us and we're knowledgeable about what's going on, but we're just having good conversation, just good free conversation about what we think should happen, what is going on, and what we think needs to change.
Sometimes that's the best conversation to have. Man.
Absolutely. It's
You
good
know,
to be
no
real.
numbers in front of you.
Yeah, so it's Ballbuster Sports. You can subscribe now on iTunes.
Awesome.
It's also on YouTube if you want to do that. Video hopefully coming soon, probably in a couple months away. But you know, look forward to that.
Awesome, that's dope. And for our fans, if anybody wants to connect with you on social media,
Yes.
how can they find you on social media?
At Breaking Lou, Breaking LU.
Breaking Lou, that's it. Instagram, Twitter, all the same.
Yep, all of the same. Facebook, but don't worry about Facebook. Instagram and Twitter, all Breaking Lou.
Yeah, follow him. You get all your breaking news. That's where I get all my breaking news.
Absolutely.
Get my facts validated. I call him first, like, yo, is this true? And he lets me know if it's true or not.
I do. I absolutely do.
Definitely true. Well, bro, definitely thank you for taking the time out.
Of course.
You know, for answering the questions.
Definitely.
For going down this road and into the throwbacks of WWF and WCW.
Always fun, man. I love, I love wrestling just as much as I love music and I love sports.
Yeah.
You know, wrestling has always been just kind of a thing with me. So.
Yeah, man. I hear you on that. For us, we're Wrestling IQ 101. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Wrestling IQ 101. Check us out on YouTube, / Wrestling IQ 101 on iTunes, Google Play, all streaming platforms. Just search Wrestling IQ 101. Make sure you follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And for this episode, we are out.
Peace.
You have just listened to the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast, powered by B Plus Player Radio.